वंदे मातरम क्यों नहीं रिकॉर्ड क्यों तुम लोग रोकना चाहिए।
जय श्री राम, जय माँ दुर्गा, जय माँ काली, भारत माता की जय।
जय भीम, जय मीम, तकबीर, अल्लाह अकबर, जय हिंद।
और जहाँ तक देखिए वंदे मातरम का ताल्लुक है, वो इट इज अगेंस्ट द इस्लाम, वी कैन नॉट फॉलो इट।
मामदी मानो जिंदाबाद।
राधे राधे। कृष्णम वंदे जगत गुरु।
स्वामी पूर्ण चेतनानंद मैंने लिखा था उसमें।
नहीं, या तो ईश्वर का नाम लेंगे, सब
बोला नमः पार्वती पदे हर हर महादेव, भारत माता की जय, गुरु गोरक्षनाथ महाराज की जय। जय हिंद, जय बांग्ला, बांग्लादेश जय हो। अपनी जय बोलोगे तो कर देता हूँ रिपीट। जय बोलना, बोलो भारत माता की जय। बांग्ला, खुदा हाफिज, अल्लाह अकबर।
That's the parliament of our country, that is known as the supreme legislative body, the temple of democracy. Hello, you're watching HW News. This is me, Anusha. That's the picture that we have showed of how the oath-taking ceremony in the maiden 17th Lok Sabha became a sloganeering contest with members chanting names of gods and inspirational figures as per their preferences. There were instances where we have seen MPs being booed with provocative slogans inside the parliament too. That surely gives a clear picture of how our elected leaders are doing a great service to their respective religion. So recently, an annual report on international religious freedom was released by the US State Department said that Hindu groups had used violence, intimidation and harassment against Muslims and low-caste Dalits in 2017 to force a religion-based national identity. The State Department's 2019 report on international freedom referred to multiple instances where the minority Muslim community was targeted and harassed under the watch of Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led central government and BJP-led state governments. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government insisted that no foreign country had the right to criticize its record. The official spokesperson of External Affairs, Ravish Kumar, however, maintained that India was proud of its secular credentials and said that it is widely acknowledged that India is a vibrant democracy where the constitution provides protection of religious freedom and where democratic governance and rule of law further promote and protect the fundamental rights. Now, apart from murder and lynching of cow-vigilant groups, the report talks and points out that there were several attempts to undermine minority institutions and also change names of cities that reminded one of the pluralistic nature of India. In that regard, the US report highlighted that the change of names of cities like Allahabad to Prayagraj, in its report it says that the central and the state governments and members of political parties took steps that affected Muslim practices and institutions. The government continued its challenge in the Supreme Court to the minority status of Muslim educational institution, which affords them independence in hiring and curriculum decision. Proposal to rename Indian citizen with Muslim provenance continued, mostly notably renaming of Allahabad to Prayagraj. Now, if you remember, Faizabad's name was also changed to Ayodhya and Mughal Sarai railway station's name had also been changed to Deen Dayal Upadhyay, and all were under the Uttar Pradesh's Yogi Adityanath government. Now, the US report on India's religious freedom was released on Saturday, the very day the news of a Jharkhand Muslim man who was beaten to death was all over the news channel. He was also forced to chant Jai Shri Ram while the mob thrashed him to death. A video of the mobs beating this 24-year-old man was also doing round on social media, and yet the spokesperson of External Affairs, Ravish Kumar, ignores the report on religious freedom in India. Now, this report sets the backdrop of the visit of US State Secretary Mike Pompeo that begins tomorrow, that is June 25th to June 27th. The report was released by Pompeo himself, and he referred this issue as a deeply personal priority. Pompeo's tomorrow's trip intends to strengthen ties, but seems like he has already complicated this trip apart from talks on trade traffics, data protection rules, US visa for Indians, and buying arms from Russia.
I'm proud to be here today to speak about the State Department's ongoing mission to advance international religious freedom. This mission is not just a Trump administration priority, it's a deeply personal one. For many years, I was a Sunday school teacher and a deacon at my church, and that might sound unusual to a lot of folks inside the Beltway, but I'm one of millions of Americans and billions of people across the world who live in a knowledge of a higher power. I often humbly reflect on how God's providence has guided me to this office to defend this cause. I think about how, as an American, I've been blessed to enjoy the unfettered exercise of religious freedom, our first liberty here in the United States. But in much of the world, governments and groups deny individuals that same unalienable right. People are persecuted, handcuffed, thrown in jail, even killed for their decision to believe or not to believe, for worshiping according to their conscience, for teaching their children about their faith, for speaking about their beliefs in public, for gathering in private, as so many of us have done, to study the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. Go into any mosque, any church, any temple in America, and you'll hear the same thing. Americans believe that kind of intolerance is deeply wrong. That's why the Trump administration has promoted religious freedom like never before in our foreign policy agenda. Given our own great freedoms, it's a distinctly American responsibility to stand up for faith in every nation's public square. So today I'm pleased to announce that here at the State Department, we're elevating the Office of International Religious Freedom along with the Office of the Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism within our organization. Effective immediately, each of these two offices will report directly to the Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights. Finally, I'll just mention one more reason this report matters so much. It will inspire conversations leading up to our second annual Ministerial to Advance Religious Freedom that I'll be hosting here in mid-July. This year, we'll welcome up to 1,000 individuals who will renew their zeal for the mission of religious freedom, and I'm proud to be one of them. I'm crossing the days off my calendar waiting for this. Last year was the first time in history that there had been such a foreign ministerial level conference on religious freedom. We brought together representatives and activists and religious leaders from virtually every corner of the world. It was truly a stunning show of unity, people of all faiths standing up for the most basic of all human rights. It was so successful that I immediately committed to hosting it the next year on the very day. Look, the good work that was done didn't stop at the end of that conference. Both the United Arab Emirates and Taiwan demonstrated impressive leadership by hosting follow-on conferences. And the International Religious Freedom Fund, which we launched to support victims of persecution and give groups the tools to respond, has already received millions of dollars. I'm looking forward to this year's ministerial being inspiring, and I know that it will be. And I'll now turn it over to my friend and our ambassador at large for international religious freedom, Sam Brownback, to take your questions. Thank you all.
Now, in its key findings about India, the US report says that yet this history of religious freedom has come under attack in recent years with the growth of exclusionary extremist narratives, including at times the government's allowance and encouragement of mob violence against religious minority that have facilitated an egregious and ongoing campaign of violence, intimidation and harassment against non-Hindu and lower caste Hindu minority. The report also talks about how over the last decade, conditions for religious minorities in India have deteriorated. A multifaceted campaign by Hindu nationalist groups like RSS, Sangh Parivar and Vishwa Hindu Parishad to alienate non-Hindus or lower caste Hindus is a significant contributor to the rise of religious violence and persecution. The report consists of chapters by country, which is grouped into tier, in which India is categorized as tier 2. It highlights that around 12% decline in communal violence compared with the previous year. The controversial revision of the NCR or the National Register for Citizenship in northeastern state of Assam, which could land millions of minorities stateless, also got notice in this particular report. The report also said that the government has not taken sufficient step to prevent such large-scale communal violence from recurring. But on the flip side, should the US talk about other countries' violence when the same country has the most number of racial discrimination cases? Or does it have a single woman president up until now? Or we have also know that how the US President Donald Trump has a history of attacking women by mocking their bodily function, demeaning their looks, or comparing them to animals even. So is US government even fit to criticize India's vibrant democracy? Do let us know what you think in the comment box below. For more news updates, log on to www.hwnews.in.